Most apprentices don't leave because of the job. They leave because of what happens or what doesn't happen after they start. What we see is that most apprentices leave because they feel a lack of support or a clear path to progression. And from the employers we work with, we know that when an apprentice leaves, it's not just the loss of one person. Instead, it affects the wider team in morale, in energy, and a lack of confidence in the apprenticeship process. In this video, I'll talk through the 3 main reasons apprentices leave, what good support and mentorship really looks like, and how to take a good apprentice and turn them into a really valuable, loyal, long-term staff member. We'll cover the pitfalls that cause an apprenticeship to fail, what real support looks like within a business, and how a retention program improves structure, motivation, and communication from day one. So let's get into the main reason that apprentices leave. Firstly, imagine you're 16, 17, 18 years old and your whole educational journey has been building up to what you're going to do when you leave school. You've just landed an apprenticeship. That's really daunting and there's no clear path as to exactly what happens next. As employers, we need to be ensuring that we're giving direction, we're giving visibility, and we're helping the apprentice track their journey. If they're on a 3-year apprenticeship, that's a really long time for them to think about what they're going to be doing. So breaking it down into small, manageable chunks really helps. This keeps an apprentice on track because, as we said, when they leave, it doesn't just affect them. It has a big impact on the wider team. And the better you can get everyone buying into the whole idea of apprenticeships in the first place, the better success you're going to be having. The 3 common pitfalls we see employers fall prey to when taking on an apprentice. Firstly, it's a misalignment with business needs, with the right course, the right training provider, the right delivery method, and most importantly, the candidate themselves. Those things need to be aligned in order to set everybody up for success. Secondly, it's a lack of preparation and really considering how this apprentice is going to work and how you're going to track things within your business. Yes, the training provider is there for the delivery. Without internal support structures, without processes, it's really hard to track, manage, and set the apprentice up for success. If you can't see it, you can't track it, you can't review it. Thirdly, inconsistencies. Apprentices aren't just a quick fix. They're a long-term solution to tackle skill shortages, to future-proof your teams, and to develop homegrown talent that can take your business forward. So don't just stop at one. Current apprentices or newly qualified apprentices become great advocates for your business, for your brand, but also brilliant mentors for new recruits. So really think about what the next 5, 10, 15 years looks like when it comes to investing in apprentices. When you've got an apprenticeship plan in place that's potentially suffering from some of those pitfalls, you're losing apprentices, but it's not just the cost of losing that apprentice at the moment in time. Yes, there's absolutely the financial impact, so the workwear, the tooling, the investment that you've made, but it's also your time and energy. On top of that, think about the wider team. You need everybody in your business to be fully on board with an apprenticeship program in order for it to succeed. And if you're having failures, that's really going to have a knock-on impact of the motivations, commitment, and dedication that they're going to take for the apprentice. Without great mentors, without support structures, you're setting your apprentice up to fail. And the more you're doing that, the less likely you are to get those advocates on board within your business. So what does good look like when it comes to setting an apprentice up for success, especially around those key points of a clear plan of progression and communication? What we often see is the training provider, the delivery partner, the college, expecting the employer to do a lot of this work around the visibility and that planning. But actually the employer is expecting that of the training partner. So it's not happening. At the centre of this, you've got an apprentice who's just starting to navigate the world of work, what their apprenticeship means, what they're expected to do. Take on top of that everything that's happening in their world outside of their apprenticeship. Their friends are all starting their career journeys. They've got expectations from their parents, questions from their friends and their families. They're comparing themselves to where their peers might be. If we're putting too much on the apprentice to be that communication, that link between those 3 parties, it's just not going to happen. And we cannot afford to put more pressure on them to be and deliver all of these extra things that are really important in an apprenticeship. In 2025 and beyond, there are so many challenges that Gen Z and the next generations after them are going to be bringing into the world of work, and they need to have proper support in place to be able to navigate all of those challenges and be able to thrive within the workplace. This really static model where everybody's expecting someone else to do it just isn't measuring up to today's needs. There are many misconceptions around the youth of today, but the generation that are entering the world of work now have very different expectations than what we may all have experienced previously, but they're not changing. So what needs to change is how we, as employers, adapt, how we welcome them in, and how we set up our organisations to give them the best chance of success. With any apprenticeship, you've got 3 key pillars and organisations or people involved. You've got the training provider, who are there to deliver great quality first-class training, to teach the apprentice the knowledge, skills and behaviours in order to get their apprenticeship, and ultimately to get them through their endpoint assessment. You've then got the employer, who has business to run, who is incredibly busy managing teams of people, operations, sales, you name it, they're doing it. And then you've got an apprentice who, as we said, is trying to navigate what all of this means to them. They're back and forward potentially to college or training provider. They're trying to develop their relationships within the workplace. They're trying to find out who they are and demonstrate themselves to both training provider and the employer. This static approach, this tri-party agreement, it's been around for years and it's absolutely not going anywhere. Previously, it was really hard for the employer to track the progress of the apprentices. As we said, there's multiple different points of contact within the training providers that they were using. So it was really hard for senior management within the employer to get a full understanding of exactly where those apprentices were, how they were checking their knowledge, skills and behaviours, how their off-the-job hours were doing, where their productivity levels were. All of this became really, really hard to get visibility of and therefore to manage. It wasn't until they implemented this key thing that things really started to change, and that was the Apprenticeship Central Retain programme. Within this tri-party agreement, we sit as a central extra layer of support in the middle. And what this allows us to do is for everyone else to focus on their key priorities. The training provider to deliver great quality, first-class training without worrying about all of the pastoral support and chasing things up. It allows the employer to focus on running their thriving business and not acting as an extra mum or dad to an apprentice. And it allows the apprentice to become productive quicker, to feel invested in, to feel supported, to be more likely to stay on as a valuable long-term member of staff once they qualify. So what does retain actually look like? For training providers, we act as that central point of contact. So all of the block reports, information, site visits, training provider reports, we get all of those. But what's really valuable is we're able to digest that and feed that back to employers through one clear communication channel for groups of apprentices. They get one point of contact, and that's us. And it's really then a case of them understanding key pieces of information, timely updates, and giving them visibility of what's happening in a practical way so that employers can make informed decisions on how to move forward. We're completely unbiased. When there are complex issues that need delicate handling, that's where we come in. For the employer, this means saving time and saving money by not having to manage all of the admin, the paperwork, the process side of things. It also means you're benefiting from retaining apprentices and building that pipeline of talent. You're also then buying into a framework. So apprenticeships don't have to be so scary and so daunting. Yes, it's a difficult world to navigate, but actually by using our retain service, it becomes really simple and straightforward, and you know exactly what's expected of you and what you have to be doing at different times throughout the process. By us sitting as a central function, it allows everybody to focus on the things that they really need to be doing for the training provider, for the employer, and for the apprentice. And this delivers results. If you wanted to implement a retain program into your business tomorrow, this is what you would typically expect. Firstly, all of the admin and paperwork handled in terms of applications and setting things up for your apprentice to onboard with the training provider. And anyone that's done it before knows that that's a hell of a process. Then it's all about starting to get to know your apprentice. We meet with them individually, over Teams or in person, but we also importantly meet with their mentor, and we can support in identifying the right type of person for that to be. We ensure that everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what we're responsible for and what they're responsible for, and we set out a clear path as to what their apprenticeship journey is going to look like. We then schedule regular calls to review both progress in the workplace, but also within their training provider. So checking off the job hours, making sure college work's up to date, but also tying that to skills that they're developing in the workplace and whether they're having the opportunities to put them into practice. Ultimately, with this, what we're looking to do is ensure that your apprentice becomes productive as quickly as possible, as we know that this is one of the biggest challenges employers face. There's a huge jump from national apprentice wage to national minimum wage. So by stopping and having those regular reviews, it allows us to advise and support you on potentially increasing pay in line with performance to better support your apprentice's motivation and also cash flow within the business. These key points in time are crucial for everybody staying aligned, everybody staying motivated, and for us to provide the visibility that everybody needs to make the right decisions. As well as this, we have regular reviews with just the apprentice, and these are crucial for developing that relationship and for identifying those issues. This also touches on our safeguarding service. So if required, we can become the designated safeguarding lead for your business. And remember, hiring an apprentice is just the start. Retention is where it really matters. For your business, that means better ROI. It means increased productivity. It means building a team culture, becoming a talent magnet, and really being able to future-proof your business with more site managers, more business leaders. If that's something that you want to be part of, you want to be like employers that are really winning when it comes to developing apprenticeship programs at scale without having to spend too much time or energy on them, then visit our website and get in touch to know more.